How's Coach Elko doing? I know everyone came from there.
He's doing all right. How are you doing?
Doing well. How's this group of people doing?
We're good.
Ready to-
It's about go time, you know?
Yeah, I'd say about ready to roll now.
We're full speed ahead.
Yeah.
You guys good at the back? Sweet. All right. Whenever anybody's ready.
Just speaking of how people are doing, just how's Kendall progressing this
We
week?
want to start there.
Do you expect her to play this weekend?
It's still a little bit day by day. I think she's able to move a little bit more freer now. So we're just trying to balance the short term versus long term. And again, I think this program are always going to be about development and the long term health of our athletes. So trying to make sure that when she's ready to go, she's able to go for the entire season. So again, I don't have an exact estimate of when that's going to be, but it's really kind of operating day by day, seeing how she's feeling and trying some different treatments.
And it's a back deal that she's dealing with?
Yeah, it's a little bit something back there.
Gotcha. You know, what have you seen from maybe Megan in particular, just having to step into a role and play in her place?
Yeah, I think not only step in, but step in on a moment's notice. And I think I always try to tell people kind of who's going to start within each match a little bit earlier, because I think it's a different mental prep of like getting ready to go do that thing. And I thought she stepped into that and did it in an amazing fashion. And I thought she got better and better as the weekend went on. And I think it's a testament to how much depth we have on this team. And I told her from the very beginning when we decided to go with a certain lineup that she's going to find times to contribute in different ways. And little did I know it would be in the first match. But I'm pleasantly surprised, I'm pleasantly happy with it, but not surprised is what I was going for there. It's something I expected out of her.
What's going to be your strongest emotion when that banner drops?
What's crazy is I didn't even think about it until you just said it. The first thing that comes to mind is just I think Rita Reno deserved a banner in that corner of the gym, and whether it be our sport or another, I think the thing I'm most happy about, and I had somebody tell me just I'm proud of what you built last year, and I think that piece of like we built something here that is special, that has fans that are showing up in the thousands to come see what we're doing, and I think that just, amplified last year throughout the year. I think it'll continue to happen this year. So I think there's just a lot of pride to bring that back home to the 12th man.
And then as far as just getting back inside of Reed, you've always said you want to put on a show for the 12th man. So you ready to do it again?
And I'm excited to do that. And again, like these weeks kind of blow by and you're in scouting and you're doing these things and you just brought up a championship and I'm like, oh yeah, we get to do that tomorrow. I forgot about that. And this was the same last week. It's just like there was this scramble to get this group ready to go compete at the level they were going to play at. And I thought we did that. And I was like, man, I'm tired. And then all of a sudden I stepped on the floor and just, I love getting to do what I do when I'm out there. So I think it's the same thing of just, we get to play in front of the 12th man. And as you're asking the questions, I'm like, oh yeah, like we get to do this in front of our amazing fans tomorrow. And we get to go put on a show the same way we did last year. And that's a cool thing.
What's the response that you're hoping to see coming off this weekend and now headed into it?
Yeah, a sense of urgency that we need to get better. And I think, again, I've said it, this group can be very good by the end of the year, but we can't take days off. We can't take weeks off. So I think regardless of win or loss, if we would have won, it would have been the same thing. Like, hey, sense of urgency that we have to get better. But I think that's got to be the motto for us this entire season of can we step into the practice gym every single day and make sure that we leave here better.
Kind of to that point, you had said after the matches that you were encouraged by some things. What were you most encouraged by? But also maybe what are some of the things y'all been really kind of focusing on this week to grow and improve from those results?
Yeah, I think for 5.5 sets, we were able to kind of push the limits of what I think we were capable of doing. And I think and this hasn't been a practice piece, this has to be in matches, but closing. Those sets that were 23-23 or 24-24 of like, can we go and kind of put pedal to the metal at that point and grab those? So I think that's one piece of it, and that's not a practice thing. I think in practice, it's cleaning up our transition game. We were really trying to work on our first ball side out stuff and just making sure that we're cleaning that phase. And again, like the sense of urgency, a sense of intent on every single contact that we have. I think if you look at what has been a trademark of this program, it's been the ability to control the ball, and that's not just passing. That's defensively. When somebody gives it to us easy, we're able to run our offense off of that. So that's been a big emphasis of making sure that intensity, that sense of urgency is happening every single point.
They were talking on the TV broadcast about you guys running like a 5-2 type system. Is that legit? And if so, can you kind of explain just kind of how you guys came to run that and just kind of the pieces, the nuances that go into that?
Yeah, so 6-2 is when you have two setters and two opposites. You kind of have that flow of this coming through as it's happening. And you start to blow through subs pretty quickly on that is one of the downfalls to it. So the nice thing is you constantly have three attackers in the front row. And for us, just as we've started the season, it's been in a 5-2, which is basically we have two setters that are coming in. So one through the front row, one through the back row. And how we came to it is a little bit of, I'll give Addie some props here. Like we want to make sure she can get on the floor every single minute that she can because she adds value in that big of a role. And the second piece is we have two middles that are really, really good off one leg, of making sure we give them opportunity to be good where they're at. And I would say the third one is just Lily's defense is unlike probably any setter I've ever seen. And just her ability to keep balls up. And there were a couple of them in the Louisville match, maybe in the SMU match too, where it's just like I'm expecting the ball to go down and all of a sudden she's flying out of nowhere and getting off the floor. So different people add value in different ways. It's something we've always said in this program. And if you're going to add value, then you're going to be on the floor in some capacity. And I made make sure I quantify that too. Everybody on this team can add value right now. But it's just one of those things, if it's in such a way that we can't keep you off, we're going to try to find a way for you to be on.
Kind of to that, just what do you like about Kira in the front row as a setter in there?
I think, one, she's developed a ton as a setter, and it's the number one thing you got to do in that. You have to touch the ball in every single contact. And I've told her over and over again, I'm proud of the work she put in over the summer and during the first few weeks of this season to kind of turn into what she is right now. So that's first and foremost, is just ability to set the ball. And then just ability to be a good blocker is a piece of it. So again, you can shut people down where again, this team can be different in some ways. And then the second piece is to be offensive, is to pull a block towards her just because she is a threat up there. So I think it's a combination of all of those things.
We saw a sneak peek on Aggie Volleyball of some new uniforms that may be coming.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for the details, but just kind of the inspiration that led to ultimately wanting to get some new uniforms.
Sam says I'm not allowed to say a thing. No, I'll say this. I really want our program to, I don't know, not press forward, like just to make sure that we're constantly innovating. And I think the way that we show up on social media, to Sam's credit, is a piece of what we do. We're trying to innovate in that space. I think I was talking to Adidas. I would love to get, Adidas Originals involved in what we do and like push forward on the trefoil and having that involved in what we're doing. But I think kind of being on pushing the envelope when it comes to fashion and trying to change every single year a little bit if we can. I think one, it ups your brand. People want to pay attention to it. And I think the second piece is the girls love it. They love being a part of pushing things forward. And we have different czars on our team. So we have some fashion czars that help us put those together and help us put together our gear package every single year. So I'm excited to see what they put forward.
Who's the biggest fashion czar this year, in your opinion?
I'm trying to remember exactly who's on that. And I think it's Kira and Georgia, I think. And I apologize if I got that wrong. I have it written down. I don't meet with those two as much. Not my forte, as I'm wearing the same thing I've probably worn for the last 3.5 years that I've been here. But I think it's those two, if I remember correctly.
Just one more question on the 5-2 system. When did you guys first consider going toward that, and how do you feel like the girls really responded to doing that?
I think the entire, and again, I'm going to go back to this. I probably hung on to letting our athletes compete for spots longer this year than I probably have my 4 years of being here, for sure. I think when we came into last year, like it was open competition, but I think the girls had a pretty good idea based on the previous year what was going to happen. So I think I hung on to that for a while. So I was late. Obviously it was in the back of our heads. We played around with it a little bit during the spring, but there were some really tight competitions and people that aren't on the floor. And I'm going to use Margot Manning as an example on this. Like she was involved in that competition and still is. So I think it was late. I think it was late across the board just because and as this program gets better and better, those competitions are going to get tighter and tighter. So I think we are going to continue to see that even more. And you could see changes throughout the season. This isn't it's just we're that, close in terms of talent. How do the players respond to it? Great. I think they both add their own energy in different ways. So I think across the board in a positive way.
Coach, looking at the three matchups this week, they're obviously not the household names of Louisville and SMU, but GCU, historically good program. Arkansas State were back in the NCAA tournament last year. and Cal Poly made the Sweet 16. So what do fans need to know about these teams?
They're good. I think is number one. And again, going through scouting, it's just I'm trying to. I think my challenge this year is I think the quote the expectation is the thief of joy. Of making sure that I don't get too hung up on these teams are really good and just go enjoy competing against them. But I think that's number one, first and foremost, that just because they aren't from a Power Four conference doesn't mean they're not good. And I got asked, I think at the end of our last press conference, do you think this is how the top is going to be, that it's going to be a dogfight against everybody? I don't think it's just the top 10 teams. I think it's the entire country. And our sport is blowing up. I just did some stuff and I sent it off to ESPN, but the number 2 most participated girls sport in the United States, women's volleyball. So I think it's soccer, track and field, one, and then us. So we're just getting this influx of really high-end athletes that are able to go play the game at a really high level, and you're seeing it across all sports or all teams. So again, really good. I think they all have their own identity and play in some different ways. Grand Canyon's going to be a lot different than what we had last year. So there's a combination of 87 people that could probably step on the floor. They got a lot of new. So you're going to see, for example, like they picked up the starting opposite from Tennessee is playing for Grand Canyon. So like they have some athleticism, they have some talent on their team. And then Arkansas State has traditionally been really, really good. And they've won that conference. They've been at the top of it for a lot of years. So they play really, really good volleyball. They have some unique systems that we're going to have to adjust to. And then you get Cal Poly to wrap things up. And Sam said it, but a Sweet 16 team. And they upset 2 teams to get to there, and it wasn't an accident. They did really well in the Big West. And they got some really big arms at the outside and a pretty good jump spinner that we'll have to adjust to and add some excitement for the crowd. So I think it will be 3 really good volleyball matches.
That motto you just mentioned about expectation, how'd you coin that phrase?
So I've had some really, inspiration people in my life, and Coach Cry was one of them. And it's interesting because I coached for him. Like he was my head coach and assistant coach, and I had learned a lot. And if I were to be like, hey, all of my volleyball knowledge, the way that I go about, teaching the game probably came from Hugh McCutcheon. And I would say the competing piece, the culture piece, I think a lot of that came from Karch, but like it was really interesting because you go in the national team gym and the budget's not high, so you go and you share a room when you're on the road constantly. Like you're on the road for 8 weeks at a time during some of that, and just Karch was my roommate, and we were the 2 assistants, and we would sit there and we would talk, and a lot of my questioning was just about like how he handled competition, because he was the best player to probably ever exist in our sport, men's or women's. And he was the best player indoors, the best player on the beach. And I just asked him the question one day, like, hey, how do you handle that always coming in being the favorite? And he just talked about that. He was like, I would really try to not, pretend I'm not the favorite, because at the end of it, it becomes a relief if you're the favorite. And if I pretend that I'm not, it's joyful. So for me, it's really kind of how do I coach with joy? I think you see that on the sidelines, but I think it's also just how do you go about every single day with like, hey, like we could lose this match. And again, going back to these mid-majors, I'm sitting there scouting, and I'm nervous every single time I watch. And I think a little bit of that is try to get myself into that, like, hey, I'm going to be here and I'm going to be joyful when we win this. That's really hard. Like it's really hard for a player. It's really hard for a coach, but it's something I battle with and try to fight for every single day.
And then a final one from me. Obviously, there's some faces that we saw last year. You look at Kira, you look at Meg, you look at Taryn, that played sparingly because of the All-Americans that were in front of them. How important is it for you to see those girls develop? Because obviously you want to recruit at a high level, but how important is that development piece?
Huge. Like, going back to, core mission statement, core values of what this program's about, it's that enjoyment of being out on the floor. It's that enjoyment, and again, I'm reminding myself of this every single day right now, of like every time we step out there in front of our fans or somebody else's, and we talked about this after the first match, I've talked about this last year a lot, like it should be an expression of who we are. That's for me as a coach, like as the way that I compete and the way that I want to go about things, that should be future savings is calling, just in case you were wondering. I won't pick that up for you guys. That should be, for me, that should be for every single player of like, hey, this is who I am as a competitor, and I'm going to step out on the floor and I'm going to show that every single day. So I think that's a huge piece, but another piece is development. And I was just having, coffee with an old friend that's an agent in Italy, and I was just talking to him about our program, and I think it's known now across the world, like, hey, you can come here and you can be developed as a volleyball player. And that's probably the most important thing to me. Be developed as a professional and international volleyball player, not just a college volleyball player, because I think those two things are a little bit different. You're going to leave this program with the skills that you need to go off and dominate professionally. And again, I'm going to say professionally in the volleyball court, professionally off the volleyball court. If you want to go into the business world, I hope a lot of the things that we're teaching are going to go, help you be great there or be a great parent. how to regulate your emotions. And I can tell you, being a parent, it's probably the number one thing you got to do. So I think just across the board, that's important to me. That, again, people that are coming in here, regardless if they're playing or not, they're able to step out on the floor. They're able to leave this program, able to go play. And I'm just going to use Taylor Humphrey just signed a professional contract, and that's one of the things I'm most proud of right now. That the people that wanted to go play professionally, that wanted to step onto a floor beyond this, they're able to go do it.
Everybody good? Sweet. Thanks, Coach.